You keep thinking that if you just try harder, if you just give more, if you just keep fixing things for other people, everything will fall into place. But let me tell you something nobody told you: your life will not change until your focus shifts back to you. Not your partner, not your boss, not your friends, you. Here's the thing, most of us spend our entire lives worrying about what everyone else thinks. We're constantly scanning the room, trying to read the energy, making sure people like us, making sure we don't disappoint anyone, and slowly, without even realizing it, we abandon ourselves. We stop asking what we want. We stop checking in on how we feel. We stop protecting our peace because we're too busy chasing approval, acceptance, and validation from everyone else. But here's the truth. The more you focus on pleasing everyone else, the further you drift from who you really are. You can't live your best life while trying to manage everybody else's expectations. You can't build your dream when you're constantly pouring into everyone else's cup and leaving yours empty. At some point, you have to decide whose life you're actually living, theirs or yours. You want to know why you feel drained? Why you wake up exhausted? Why you feel stuck? It's not because you're broken or lazy or unmotivated. It's because you're carrying too much, too many expectations, too many responsibilities that don't even belong to you, too much weight from people who wouldn't even show up if you needed them. That's why you feel like you're running on fumes. You've been trying to control outcomes that aren't yours to control. You've been overextending yourself for people who wouldn't cross the street for you. And meanwhile, the one person who actually needs you the most, is being neglected. It's time to make a different choice. It's time to reclaim your energy, your attention, and your power. That starts with saying no more often. It starts with setting boundaries, even if it makes people uncomfortable. It starts with letting go of things and people that no longer serve the person you're becoming. Because here's the thing, you cannot step into your highest potential if you're constantly shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's life. Focusing on yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's the only way you'll ever create a life you don't want to escape from. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And you can't show up fully for anyone else until you learn how to show up for yourself first. That means taking care of your mental health, your body, your dreams, and your peace, not last but first. And yes, people will talk, people will get uncomfortable, some will even leave. But here's the truth. The people who truly love and respect you will celebrate your growth. The ones who fall away weren't meant to go where you're headed anyway. So stop giving your energy to battles that aren't yours to fight. Stop chasing approval from people who don't even value themselves. Stop trying to control what's outside of your control. And start doing the one thing you've been avoiding. Invest in yourself. Because the second you turn your focus inward, everything changes. Your relationships, your energy, your mindset, your confidence. All of it gets better when you decide you're worthy of your own attention. You keep giving pieces of yourself away like you have an endless supply, and that's why you're exhausted. That's why you feel drained, stuck, and uninspired. You've been spending your energy on people, situations, and problems that aren't even yours to solve. And the painful truth is, you've been doing it for so long that you've started to believe this is just how life works, that it's normal to feel depleted all the time. But it's not. You're running on empty because your energy is everywhere but on you. You have to understand something fundamental about life. Your energy is your currency. Every thought, every decision, every action you take either invests in you or depletes you. And right now you're overpaying. You're overpaying in relationships where you're the only one showing up. You're overpaying in friendships that require you to constantly prove your worth. You're overpaying at work, giving 110% to people who barely see your effort. And while you're busy giving and giving and giving, you've forgotten one thing. You haven't saved any of that energy for yourself. And here's the kicker. Most of the things you're giving your energy to, they don't even matter. Half the arguments you replay in your head, half the people you're trying so desperately to impress, half the situations you obsess over, lose sleep over, and worry about endlessly, they will not matter in 5 years, 5 months, maybe even 5 weeks. Yet they're stealing hours, days, and sometimes years of your life. And for what? For the illusion of control, for the hope of approval, for the belief that if you just give a little more, they'll finally see your value. But here's the truth. The people who truly value you don't need convincing. The opportunities meant for you don't require you to burn yourself out to prove your worth. The peace you're chasing will never come from controlling everything and everyone around you. It comes from reclaiming your focus and pulling your energy back where it belongs, on you. That's where real change starts, not by trying to fix everyone else. Not by waiting for someone to finally appreciate you. Not by giving more than you can afford to give. Real change begins the moment you decide that your energy, your attention, and your time are too valuable to waste on things that don't align with your growth. And yes, this is hard, because when you start shifting your focus back to yourself, people will notice, the takers will notice. The ones who are used to you being available 24/7 will notice. The people who benefited from your lack of boundaries will notice. And some of them won't like it. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You are changing. You're no longer willing to sacrifice your happiness to keep the peace. You're no longer okay with draining yourself to fill someone else's cup. You're finally putting you first, and that's exactly what you should be doing. Because here's the thing, your energy creates your reality. When you stop wasting it on drama, on people who don't respect you, on situations that are going nowhere, you create space for better things to flow in. You start showing up differently. You stop operating from exhaustion and start operating from clarity. And that clarity gives you the confidence to choose yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. The second you stop pouring into people and situations that drain you, you unlock the power to build a life that fuels you. That's when things start to shift, your mindset, your relationships, your opportunities, your entire reality. Because when your energy is focused on you, everything else starts falling into place. You've been taught to believe that saying yes makes you a good person, that keeping the peace, avoiding conflict, and showing up for everyone, no matter what, is what love looks like. But let me tell you the truth that will change your life every time you say yes to someone else while saying no to yourself. You're teaching people how to treat you. And right now, whether you realize it or not, you're teaching them that your time, your energy, and your needs don't matter. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. Boundaries are about protecting your peace, your energy, and your mental health. Without them, you become a sponge, soaking up everyone else's problems, everyone else's drama, everyone else's expectations, and eventually you're left with nothing for yourself. And yet, you wonder why you're so drained. You wonder why you're constantly overwhelmed. You wonder why you feel like no matter how much you give, it's never enough. It's because you're living without boundaries. Here's the hard truth. Nobody is going to protect your energy for you. Nobody is going to magically start respecting your limits if you never communicate them. People will keep taking as long as you keep giving. That's not because they're bad people. It's because you've trained them to expect it. You've shown them through your actions that you'll always be available. You'll always say yes. And you'll always put yourself last. And as long as you continue to live like that, nothing will change. But here's the shift. The moment you set a boundary, you send a message. You're telling the world, I matter, my energy matters, my time matters, my mental health matters. You're teaching people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. When you respect your own limits, others start respecting them too. And yes, some people won't like it. They'll push back. They'll make you feel guilty. They'll say you've changed. And they're right, you have. You've finally decided that your worth is not measured by how much of yourself you sacrifice for everyone else. Boundaries are not walls, they're doors. They don't shut people out, they filter who and what gets to come in. They're the key to attracting healthy relationships because they set the standard. And let me tell you something, the people who truly care about you, the ones who love and respect you, will honor your boundaries. They might need time to adjust, but they'll adapt because they value you. The people who get angry when you set boundaries are the very ones who benefited from you not having any. And that's not your problem to fix. This is about taking your power back. It's about choosing you even when it feels uncomfortable. It's about saying, no, I can't do that right now, without apologizing for it. It's about leaving the conversation when someone crosses the line. It's about stepping away from relationships that constantly take but never give. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your energy. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. The truth is, when you start setting boundaries, everything in your life shifts. You have more energy. You think more clearly. You start attracting people and opportunities that actually align with your values because you've stopped wasting your time on things that drain you. You begin to feel lighter, freer, and more in control because you're no longer running on everyone else's demands. Boundaries are the highest form of self-respect. They're you saying to yourself, I deserve to feel safe, I deserve to feel valued, I deserve to feel free. And the more you practice them, the more confident you become in choosing what's right for you, not what keeps everyone else comfortable. The moment you stop apologizing for protecting your energy is the moment you step into your power. That's when you stop being controlled by guilt and start being guided by clarity. And clarity is where freedom lies. You have to stop living your life trying to prove your worth to everyone else. You have to stop waking up every day and measuring your value based on someone else's opinion. Because here's the truth. The moment you start chasing validation, you hand over control of your happiness, you give away your power, and you don't even realize it. Think about it. Every time you post something online and keep refreshing to see who liked it. Every time you bend over backwards to get someone's approval. Every time you replay a conversation in your head wondering if you said the right thing, you're living your life for an audience that isn't even paying attention. You're outsourcing your confidence to people who probably don't even remember half the things you said or did. And yet, you're exhausting yourself trying to keep up this image, trying to get noticed, trying to feel enough. Here's the thing, validation feels good, but it doesn't last. It's temporary, it's a sugar rush. You get that little dopamine hit when someone praises you, compliments you, or approves of you, but it fades. And then you're right back where you started, needing the next fix. The next good job. That's why you feel stuck. That's why you feel insecure, anxious, and restless. Because you're trying to build your self-worth on something external, something unstable, something you can't control. The real problem, you're so busy proving yourself to everyone else that you've forgotten to prove something to the most important person. You're so focused on being accepted that you've lost sight of what actually matters to you. You've silenced your voice to fit into someone else's version of success. You've ignored your instincts because you were too afraid of standing out or being judged. And while you're busy performing for everyone else, your dreams, your passions, your purpose, they're sitting in the background waiting for you to notice them again. But here's the shift. The moment you stop chasing validation, you start reclaiming your power, you stop asking, do they like me? And you start asking, do I like me? You stop worrying about what everyone thinks and start focusing on what you think. And that's when you begin to live differently. That's when you start making choices based on alignment instead of approval. That's when you stop settling for less just to feel accepted and start demanding more because you finally see your own value. You want to know what confidence actually is? It's not walking into a room thinking everyone will like you. It's walking into a room knowing that even if they don't, you'll be okay. It's not about fitting in. It's about standing out because you're grounded in who you are. When you stop relying on external validation, you stop living reactively. You stop letting other people's opinions dictate your mood, your decisions, and your future. And let me tell you something, the people who truly matter, the ones who actually love and respect you, they don't need you to perform. They don't need you to prove yourself. They love you as you are. The ones who judge you, criticize you, or pull away when you stop bending over backwards for them, let them go. Their opinion doesn't define you. Because here's the truth, the moment you stop begging for validation, you create space for something far more powerful, self-trust. You begin to trust yourself to make the right decisions, to follow your instincts, to go after what actually feels right for you. And that self-trust builds unshakable confidence. It frees you. It lets you move through the world without constantly second-guessing yourself or worrying about being enough. The day you stop needing everyone else's approval is the day you start living authentically. That's when you stop dimming your light just to make others comfortable. That's when you realize that your worth isn't up for negotiation. It's not determined by how many people clap for you. It's determined by how deeply you believe in yourself. Your life isn't falling apart. Your focus is. And if you're honest with yourself, you already know it. You know how many times you've sat down to work on something important, but instead you reach for your phone. You know how many hours you've spent scrolling, clicking, watching, reacting, all while convincing yourself you're just taking a quick break? But the truth is, those distractions are stealing your future. They're hijacking your energy, your time, and your potential. And until you take control of your focus, nothing in your life will change. Distractions are everywhere, on your phone, in your relationships, in your thoughts. But here's the thing, nobody tells you distractions aren't the problem. Your relationship with them is. You've trained your brain to crave the quick hit, the instant gratification, the constant stimulation. And every time you give in, every time you pick up your phone instead of staying present, you're wiring yourself to seek easy comfort instead of lasting growth. That's why you're frustrated with yourself. It's not because you're lazy or unmotivated. It's because you've been conditioning yourself to live in reaction mode, and reaction mode is exhausting. When you spend your day responding to notifications, messages, emails, and everyone else's demands, you never actually create anything of your own. You're letting the world dictate your priorities instead of setting them yourself. That's why you end the day feeling drained and unsatisfied, even if you were busy all day. You were busy, yes, but you weren't focused. And there's a massive difference. If you want to change your life, you need to reclaim your focus. You need to create space in your day where your attention belongs to you, not to your phone, not to your inbox, not to the endless noise around you. And I'm not talking about making some massive, complicated plan. I'm talking about starting small. 10 minutes of uninterrupted focus. 10 minutes of doing something that actually moves you closer to the life you want. 10 minutes where you're fully present, fully engaged, and not allowing anything to pull you away. Because here's the thing, focus isn't about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it deeply. It's about choosing what truly matters and letting go of the rest. That means saying no to things that drain you, turning off the notifications that hijack your brain, and creating boundaries around your time and energy. It's about understanding that you cannot be available to everyone all the time and still expect to build something meaningful for yourself. Here's a hard truth. If you don't learn to control your focus, someone else will control it for you. Social media platforms are designed to keep you hooked. News cycles are designed to keep you outraged. Advertisers are designed to make you feel like you're not enough until you buy something. You are literally up against billion-dollar systems built to keep you distracted, and the only way you win is by stepping off autopilot and taking back your attention. When you eliminate distractions, something amazing happens. You start to hear yourself again. You start to connect with your ideas, your creativity, your instincts. You stop feeling pulled in 1,000 directions and begin to see clearly what actually matters to you. That clarity creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. Suddenly, you're not just reacting to life, you're leading it. And let me tell you something else. Your focus is your power. Every goal you've ever wanted to achieve, every dream you've ever had, every version of yourself you've imagined becoming, they all live on the other side of focus. But you can't get there if your energy is scattered. You can't grow if you're constantly distracted. You can't transform your life if your attention is owned by everyone and everything but you. This isn't about perfection, it's about intention. You don't have to eliminate every distraction forever. You just need to start choosing more moments where you're present and committed. Those small pockets of focus compound over time. They build discipline, they build confidence, they build results. When you decide to remove distractions, you're not just changing your habits, you're changing your identity. You're stepping into a version of yourself that's intentional, grounded, and unstoppable. That's the version of you that creates, builds, and thrives, not the one who's constantly checking who liked their post or scrolling through someone else's highlight reel. Your life isn't lacking opportunities, it's lacking focus. And the moment you take control of that, everything begins to shift. You've been putting everyone else first for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to actually choose yourself. You wake up thinking about what other people need from you. You say yes when you want to say no. You show up for people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared for a week. And the truth is, you're exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, because deep down, you know this isn't sustainable. You can't keep living your life putting yourself last and expect to feel fulfilled, happy, or whole. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. Let me say that again, because I know you've been conditioned to believe otherwise. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. And the reason it feels uncomfortable is because you've been taught to measure your worth by how much you do for other people, how much you give, how much you sacrifice. But here's the truth, nobody told you constantly abandoning yourself to meet everyone else's expectations will never lead to happiness. It will only lead to resentment, burnout, and a version of yourself you barely recognize. Every time you say yes to something you don't want, you're saying no to yourself. And little by little, you chip away at your own identity. You lose sight of what matters to you, what excites you, what fuels you. You start living on autopilot, trapped in obligations and routines that drain you instead of energizing you. And then you wonder why you feel stuck, unmotivated, or disconnected from your own life. Choosing yourself means giving yourself permission to take up space. It means prioritizing your needs, your dreams, and your well-being unapologetically. It means setting boundaries even when people don't like them. It means saying no even when you feel guilty. It means protecting your time and your energy like they're the most valuable assets you own, because they are. I know that sounds hard. I know it feels scary, because the moment you start choosing yourself, people will notice. The ones who have benefited from your self-sacrifice won't like it. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You are changing. You're breaking free from a pattern that's been keeping you small, keeping you exhausted, keeping you distracted from your own potential. When you choose yourself, you stop chasing validation. You stop bending over backward to be liked, accepted, or approved of. You start realizing that your worth isn't tied to how much you do for other people. It comes from within. And once you get that, everything changes. You start speaking up instead of staying silent. You start showing up as your authentic self instead of the version of you that makes everyone else comfortable. You start investing your energy in the things that actually move your life forward instead of pouring it into people and situations that go nowhere. And here's the beautiful thing. When you choose yourself, you don't just change your life, you change how the world experiences you. You start showing up with more energy, more passion, and more clarity. You become magnetic because you're no longer operating from a place of exhaustion and resentment. You're operating from alignment. You're choosing the life you want to live instead of settling for the one handed to you. Choosing yourself doesn't mean you stop caring about other people. It doesn't mean you become cold or detached. It means you finally understand that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give your best to anyone else if you're running on fumes. When you choose yourself, you create a stronger, healthier, more grounded version of you. And that version has so much more to offer the people you love. At the end of the day, you have one life, one shot, one chance to build something meaningful. And every time you put yourself last, the fact is you're giving pieces of that life away to things and people that don't deserve them. Choosing yourself is how you take your power back. It's how you stop living on everyone else's terms and start living on your own. When you choose yourself, you're not just making a decision, you're making a declaration. You're telling the world, I matter, my dreams matter, my happiness matters, and the moment you truly believe that, everything in your life begins to shift. Here's the thing. Life isn't waiting for you to finally choose yourself. Time isn't slowing down until you're ready. The days are passing, the opportunities are moving, and the world keeps spinning. And if you keep putting yourself last, if you keep ignoring your own needs, your own dreams, and your own energy, you're going to wake up one day and wonder where your life went. This isn't about being selfish. This is about survival. This is about reclaiming the parts of you that you've given away for too long. It's about remembering that you are not here to constantly prove your worth to everyone else. You are here to live, to grow, to create, and to become the fullest version of yourself. But that only happens when you stop outsourcing your happiness and start taking responsibility for it. I want you to hear me. You are allowed to choose yourself. You are allowed to say no without explaining why. You are allowed to set boundaries without feeling guilty. You are allowed to dream bigger than the life you've been